Mustafa Barghouti, the Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative. Mr. Barghouti, thank you so much for your time. Can you tell us about Awad, the person? Who was he?
He was an activist. He was a farmer. He was a citizen of the area of al-Khair, which is one of the villages in Masafer Yatta in the south of Hebron. And he tried to protect his family and his land. And they were constantly attacked by these Israeli terrorists because they should be called as they are, settler terrorists, who continue to attack people there. And they've evicted many people from their homes. They've confiscated much of their land. And their goal is to evict completely the people of that area. And Hathaleen was one of the people who were just simply trying to live and trying to protect their land. And as you have seen, he was shot to death by an Israeli terrorist settler who is well known as being the person responsible for many attacks. The police knows about it, the Israeli army knows about it, and instead of punishing him or arresting him, they've just encouraged him to continue these attacks. I think the situation maybe can be easily summarized if we report what the Israeli army radio reported this morning, which is that Lapid, who's considered the head of opposition in Israel, stated that Netanyahu brought to his government fascists and brought fascism to the Israeli government. So when an Israeli Zionist leader like Lapid, who does not approve the Palestinian rights, still comes out and says that the Israeli government has become fascists, that is, in my opinion, a sufficient indicator. What we see in Hebron, what we see in other parts of the West Bank, are gangs of settler terrorists who are trying to repeat the same crimes that Zionist terrorist groups like Haganah and Etzel and others did in 1948 to force 70% of the Palestinian population out of their land.
But it's quite clear, isn't it, that the settlers couldn't do what they do without the support of both the Israeli government and especially the Israeli army. We had Volker Turk, it's more than a year ago, Mustafa, you'll remember. He said the illegal Israeli settler activity in the occupied West Bank makes a two-state solution almost unviable. They know that, the settlers.
Absolutely. And the Israeli army is participant in three ways. First of all, it is the Israeli army and the fascist minister Ben-Gvir, who made sure that every Israeli illegal terrorist is armed. They armed them. In the last 2 years, they provided more than 120,000 more weapons to these settlers to use them against Palestinians. Second, the settlers themselves are army soldiers, most of them. So they also serve in the army, and they train in the army, and they have their guns from the army, and so they use it against Palestinians. But third and most important, the army itself is absolutely supportive of them and participates with them in attacking Palestinians. And the scenario always goes like that. The settler terrorists attack Palestinian community, burn cars, burn houses, shoot people. Then when Palestinians try to defend themselves in any way, like even throwing some stones, the army comes in and starts shooting Palestinians. It's a conspiracy. It is planned between settlers and the government of Israel and the army. And we have to remember that many of the Israeli ministers today are themselves settlers settling on occupied territory.
We're also looking at the growing international pressure on Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu and his government. I just wanted to ask you about the conference happening in New York. What do you make of the timing of what's being discussed? In other words, should a Palestinian state be recognized before a ceasefire, or should a ceasefire come before recognition of a Palestinian state? What would be more favorable for Palestinians?
They should be together. There is no reason why you should alternate one with the other. First of all, 149 countries already recognize Palestine. So those who haven't recognized, I don't know why they are waiting. But recognition itself will not bring a solution. Recognition is welcomed because it confirms the right of the Palestinian people of self-determination on their homeland, in contradiction to the Israeli law, which is denying Palestinians these rights, and the Israeli laws which the Israeli Knesset keeps coming up with all the time to annex the occupied territories, West Bank and Gaza now. So the recognition is useful, but it's not enough. And demanding ceasefire also is not enough. Israel doesn't listen to all these statements and doesn't care about them. And even the United States of America is supporting them in that. In my opinion, the only thing that would work now is to impose immediate sanctions on Israel. Sanctions, boycott, divestment, immediately. This double standard that European and Western governments continue to use is unacceptable. Look at what they've done to Russia, 11,000 sanctions in 2 months. What did they do to Israel? Not a single sanction up till now, even when their investigation committees, like the one of the European Union, came up with a conclusion that Israel violated the association agreement by violating international law and human rights. Still, the European Union abstained from taking any measures. The only way is sanctions. So we're welcoming recognition. We demand pressure to end this terrible genocide war on Gaza, but the way is to impose sanctions immediately on Israel.
Mustafa Barghouti, we always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.